My name is Viviane Boussou, and I am one of the coordinators of this region. And first of all, I would like to thank HDCA members for all the work they have done to organize this global dialogue. And a special thanks to Oscar, Cathy, Hélène, and all of those who have done a lot of job to make this workshop possible. Secondly, let me also thank all the participants who have taken the time to attend this workshop. As you may know, the topic relates to impact evaluation, which is more Natalie's field of research. So I pass her the floor in order she will tell you a little bit about more that. And after our speaker will take the role. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Viviane. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So actually, I am Nathalie Robé-Malindre. I'm a PhD in development economics, and I am a coordinator of the West African and Madagascar group in HDCA with Viviane. I am a project leader in impact evaluation at the French Red Cross. That's quite recent, but anyway. So for today, we have chosen this topic mainly because of, let's say, 3 reasons. The first one is that we all know that African countries, especially in West Africa and in Madagascar, development projects have been led in African countries for decades now. And until now, many of the evaluation show, not very successful results. And the second reason is that one of the main issue is to produce a long-term effect. And impact evaluation actually includes that notion of long-term effect. And also the advantage of impact evaluation is that it intervenes not only in the end or before the end of a project, but it's what we call an impact management. It can start even at the stage of designing of the project. And when designing the project, when you reason through the impact, how do we say it? When your logic includes the vision of the impact that you want to produce, one of the first questions that you ask is, what is the social need? Why do we need a project, and what might happen if the project doesn't exist? So that question often, maybe in reality, is not treated, or people just skip that stage. And so the problem is the way we tackle the problem. And so that's the third reason why we think that it would be interesting today to discuss about this impact evaluation and how it can help to empower individuals, institutions, and communities in West Africa and in Madagascar. What we expect actually from all of you today is, of course, to share your experience. I am quite sure you are all interested in this session because maybe many of you have experience on weather evaluation or impact evaluation or empowerment or even just capability approach, but maybe linked to the region. So what we expect from you today is to share your experience also contributing in maybe the definition or giving other perspectives on the definition that the speaker might give today. Maybe GD will, of course, will start with a brief definition of impact evaluation. So I am going to copy paste a couple of topics, sub-themes that we can discuss today. This is just for this is just a guideline. Just to tell you, I'm going to put it in the discussion, in the conversation section, so that everyone can see it. This is just a guideline of our discussion, and to let you know that for each stage, I mean, if you have a question, make sure it is related to the discussion. And if not, then would you please keep it and wait for the moment when we will discuss the sub-theme that is concerned. I hope that's okay for you. So thank you again for your participation, and thank you, Chidi, also for this presentation that you will make today. I'm going to give you the floor. I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Natalie, Busa, and everyone. Welcome to this important session. I might not talk very long, just a general experience and based on what I have observed and experienced in Nigeria. My name is Dr. Chidi Ezebu. I'm an independent researcher. I'm an independent researcher and evaluation specialist. Please. I'm an independent research and evaluation specialist based in Abuja here in Nigeria, though I've also played an important role in a number of studies outside Nigeria. But the experience we'll be sharing here will focus on Nigeria. I will begin by sharing my screen.
Excuse me, Chidi, please, can you cut your microphone, please, everybody? Thank you. Go ahead, Chidi, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. So let me begin by introducing impact evaluation. But before then, as I mentioned earlier, it's not meant to be a pure academic discussion, and it's also not going to focus on detailed intellectual debates and discussion around impact evaluation. Instead, we just want to look at issues relating to experience and experiences from Nigeria and observation. So by way of introduction, I want to say that impact evaluation are studies. They are studies, not just a mere exercise. That means they follow certain procedures and method. Also, as a research, it has a purpose, which is to examine changes in interventions or development activities. And particularly, evaluations seek to check if there are changes in development outcome that may be attributed to particular projects. Where possible, factors may be held constant to see if there are observable changes that can be linked to an intervention. So generally, evaluations try to check relationship and association. Whether it is qualitative or quantitative, it will still need to look for association or relationship between the observed change, someone or an organization or implementer we want to claim and the actual intervention. So there's a kind of cause and effect relationship, which impact evaluations we search to find if they exist before it could be said, yes, there is a particular change or not. So while we recognize some of these and the other mainstream issues, other mainstream intellectual discussion, such as method, types, focus, and approaches, we will not be looking at them here. Natalia has provided some document which she plans, I think she has already might have shared it or plans to share, that might give us some brief information on evaluations. So now let's focus largely on issues around evaluation in Nigeria. And I want to say that these experiences we're sharing in Nigeria. In doing so, I have tried to focus on those I play some roles in, because it's not just something you can point out at the end of the study. Some of the issues around empowerment happen or take place in the process. So someone who had been in the process, maybe from the design to the final stage of the evaluation, will be able to observe certain things that happened at different times. And in the report, might be able to point out, okay, this is what really happened. Because there is an important issue I observed, which I'll be talking about later toward the end of this. We have not been evaluating our evaluations. So it is difficult for evaluations to report the impact of evaluations. Rather, evaluations report impact of projects. And if evaluations report impact of the project, someone who has been part of the process will be able to observe some of the things that happened in the process. So that's one of the major reasons why it is important to focus on the ones that have played part in, not just any evaluation. Okay, then how do we conceptualize or define empowerment? I've not tried to develop mine, but I've tried to share some from the United Nations Department for Economic and Social Affairs, which tried to collect a lot of definitions. I've shared a link in the reference list. Not the first one there, you see a lot of definitions. And one of them talks about development of competencies and capacity of individuals in a way that help to improve their skills, their knowledge, and also help them to generate or improve their incomes and quality of life. So other one is also looking at a kind of skill and knowledge attained. So it's like a process that helps people to attain skill and knowledge that will help them. It will help them to understand the need for change and possibly help them to actually work for the change that will help not just for themselves also, but for the society. Then it's also, and the third one sees it as a kind of process to develop and to create the enabling environment, enabling preconditions for individuals. So some of then also not just the enabling condition, but there are certain prerequisites, certain requirements it aims to create. This person includes issues like this definition includes issues like gender equality, human rights, access to land, economic issues, but they ultimately contribute to improving people's well-being. Then the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs believe that empowerment is a key towards achieving other sustainable development goals. Then how do we look at evaluation in the process of empowerment? How does evaluation empower, or how do different evaluations contribute to empowering people? I provided a particular link here where somebody provided an extensive discussion about empowerment evaluation. So I picked some things both from there and from others to experience to summarize some of the things we will see in an evaluation that is actually empowering people, or this thing either as a process or outcome. So such evaluation, you will see a kind of, it might promote inclusion of the democratic participation. It also enhances or harnesses community knowledge, and provide evidence for further engagement, which might include evidence to engage other stakeholders, evidence for advocacy, evidence to demand for change. Evaluations also help to promote organizational learning and thereby empowering or building capacity of such organizations. They also promote social justice and accountability. In the process, we should see some of these examples and how they are linked to this. The empowerment also contributes to promoting community ownership and project relevance. Relevance is not just relevant to the funder or to the implementing agency, but also to the beneficiaries. Project might be very lofty, very sound great, but such project may not be relevant to the people. So evaluation empower people by making the project relevant to the people, and then improve lives, not just the lives not just the lives of the people, but also the community and the project itself. Generally, many evaluations tend to focus on improving the project process and outcome, and miss the need to improve life as part of the evaluation process. And this is an important area. I'm raising concern. There is a need for us to look at how evaluations contribute to improving lives directly, not just improving the project. Though, yeah, we can say projects improve lives, but evaluations also need to give attention to improving lives in the process of evaluation. Now, I have tried to categorize the presentation under different themes. Here we have the empowering people. And within the empowering people, few things I'm going to say now relate to how evaluations empower people. And as we know, the presentation is looking at empowering people, empowering communities, and empowering institutions. So here, under empowering people, we'll look at how it promotes local participation. We remember we talk about democratic participation, how evaluations promote social justice, how it contributes to promoting inclusion and building capacity. Now, I want to begin with one of the studies I played some roles in. It was conducted between 2013 and 2014. It was called an operational study, but it was a process study that evaluated the project and various processes and reported back. The project was funded by UNICEF, by DFID, and implemented by UNICEF, that's Girls Education Project in Nigeria, which had diverse components. So one of the components of Girls Education Project was this female teachers scholarship, female teacher trainee scholarship scheme. The scheme was sought to identify rural women who have good qualifications and they're interested in teaching in the school, possibly because of the challenges in getting admission in Nigeria, or because of money, they're unable to get admission. So the project sought them out, specifically from the rural area. That is the target audience, to give them scholarship with a kind of agreement that at the end of their studies, they will be posted back to their communities, or possibly nearby communities, to teach. During their teaching, they're expected to be role models, which will contribute to promoting interest in education. So this study was conducted in Zamfara and Niger states, but the Girls Education Project was going on in about 5 states. So there are some of the key observations we made in the project was while the FTTSS were designed to support rural poor, at a point it was hijacked by politicians and the corrupt officials. So because we see personal interests and the political interests interplaying and robbing the rural women of this opportunity. What happened is that the advertisements and the selection process was informal. People had to submit the application through people they know, so people who told them about it. As people heard about the opportunity, they submitted the application through the people who informed them. So at the end of the day, people who were selected, some of them were children of the rich and people who were in urban area, but not the poor. So the study now exposed this challenge in the selection process. That created a kind of an empowerment. That is an opportunity and evidence through which the people can demand for this error to be corrected, or for DFID and other partners to make a change. So the information and evidence was provided for this. And it is not just providing the information. There is also other ways, which I'm going to talk about later. Continuing on the FTTSS, some of the recipients complain that they have not met any of the implementing agencies. So nobody has ever spoken to them, or they have never seen or interacted with the implementing agency, something like this. So, but the evaluation process brought them to the consultants, or the researchers, the evaluators who were looking at the project. So it was like an opportunity for them to air their view, to make input and contribute, their own view and perspective about the project they are benefiting. So that is an empowerment itself. Then, as they interacted with the consultants, it also opened the opportunity both for the beneficiaries to understand what was happening. And there's also a particular thing that they complain about, which the project helped to expose to DFID and the UNICEF. The payment of their scholarship money was very slow. And some of them, it was like blocked, especially those coming from the state contribution. But this helped to open it up. You can imagine the number of persons that might have dropped because their scholarship money had not been paid. And if this study didn't review it, you can also imagine the number that might have dropped subsequently. So, but such interaction helped them to understand what is happening, and possibly know who to talk to, who to report when they have an issue, and to the funders, helping the funders to know so that such challenges could be addressed. Then another study that I also played role. Okay, I need to mention that for the FTTSS operational research, then I was the research officer for DFID during that, the Education Data Research and Development in Nigeria, that coordinated the study when a lot of consultants were involved. So then I was the research officer. Then in 2015, as a British Council consultant, I coordinated this study on girls' education advocacy, the girls' education advocacy and research and network project. This project was aimed at building capacity of local researchers who can take ownership of research and evaluation projects, and using local knowledge and generating evidence from the grassroots. So, then between 2015 and 2016, British Council gave grant to 6 teams to work in 6 states, all of them in northern Nigeria. When we were designing the study, this project, there's something we did. We designed it that it will have each team we involve lecturers from university, the staff of Ministry of Education, and civil society organizations. So it was structured in a way that in each team, there ought to be at least one. So the teams had this, only one, I think only one that didn't have it, that have to talk to 2 lecturers. So but these 3 groups need to be represented in a team. So they were given, 6 teams were selected and given grants. Then 4 of the 6 teams did evaluation of existing project like school-based management committee. There is a project, teacher development program, and the SP education sector support program, all, which were funded by DFID. So some of these projects grantee decided to evaluate these projects and understand the contribution and the impact. So some of the key lessons we learned in the process that when evaluation is led by the people who are beneficiaries, who are supposed to be beneficiaries, or people at the grassroots, or people who belong to the community, there is a local knowledge an external evaluator may not have, but these people have this information. They use this information together with the technical and theoretical academic skills that we are giving to them, or they develop in the process of training. Like the GIAN project, we train them in three times. The first one, we trained them on research designs, literature reviews. After training them, they went and designed their studies, returned for another session. I think it took about 1 month or so before they returned. When they returned, we trained them on the actual field work design. So then they designed their studies. I followed them into the field, some of them into the field or during their training to understand how they are doing it. Then at the end, when they finished collecting their data, they came back for the final session where we were trained on how to report on what the data they collected, analyze, and develop reports. So the picture you saw this slide was taken in one of the conferences where they presented their findings. So some of the observations were why they were involved in the evaluation. Remember, this now the people, the beneficiary, the people from the states were recruited, were selected, trying to do it. So you see that the evaluation process build their capacities and use the local capacity, not just somebody doing it externally. There's something I used to cite as an example of what happened to me. I followed these people to the Plateau team to the field to see what they are doing. I discovered that when I tried to speak to some of the people there, they were behaving as if they wanted to impress me. They were acting as if they wanted to tell me what I want to hear. Then when I stood back and allowed the local team to talk to them, you see a relaxed environment where they began to tell them almost something different. Because they were using a local language, I didn't understand what they were saying, but you could see from the body language, they desired to impress when they were talking to me, and they desired to express when they were talking to the local teams. So another thing is it contributed to building the local kind of local team to use what is running now as the decolonial research. Decolonial research believe that the local knowledge, local values, local ideas need to be incorporated in the research process. That's not just a comprehensive definition of the colonial research, but that's part of it. So these people coming from the grassroots, they already have the local knowledge, the local idea, things happen there, and they are evaluating projects in their own states. So they need not to deceive themselves. One is that they are not reporting it to any funder to impress that funder. The grant was given to them for them to manage it the way they like. So you see them relaxing to do it the way they see it, using the information, not trying to interpret it in a way that will impress anybody. So it brings in the colonial element into evaluation system. Then it also enhanced local participation and ownership, because the people themselves saw it as their own. That it is their research, it is research. I think the publication is online, but apart from the British Council's forward in the work, you might not see much contribution, including mine, except those things we reviewed in the process, but they were allowed to do it by themselves and publish it as independent study. Then let's look at the empowerment of institutions through evaluation. In this session, we'll see organizational learning and the capacity building for organizations. Now we use another British Council study. This study was conducted between December 2020 and March this year, this evaluation. But it began as far back as 2018, when British Council commissioned a number of studies to understand higher education partnership landscape in Nigeria. So I got one of the grants then to do this, but also there were also others. Then, but one of the striking things in the call for, in the TOR or the call for application is the one that says that some international institutions that want to come into Nigeria and collaborate or partner with Nigerian institutions in the higher education sector, they were expressing some level of skepticism and concern about the environment for partnership in the country. So in 2019, based on the information British Council generated from the British Council launched out to initiate this, I call it testing of the waters. You know what the British Council call it. British Council began initiated a partnership grant system that for this pilot one gave a grant to 4 Nigerian universities, but one was a tripartite partnership. So each partnership involved Nigerian partners and the UK partners. All of them were universities. So the project began around 2019, but by the time COVID struck, I think one of them had not fully commenced, but others were able to complete their project within the time. So we now evaluated the project to understand to understand the efficacy, the relevance, the effectiveness, and especially the issue of sustainability was very key in the discussion. There are so many other things British Council needed to do, but they are related to the initial study on partnership. But this particular one focused on 2 major streams. So when we're evaluating, we focus on these 2 streams. That is sustainability funding stream and the enhancing employer-academic relationship. So some of the things we learned or the evaluation revealed is that it helped to test water. Remember, we talk about capacity building for organizations or organizational learning. So for British Council, which may also report to other international institutions that may have interest. First of all, it helped the evaluation helped to expose the depth of the waters, the safety of the water people are concerned about. I mean, the partnership environment in Nigeria. So it was an opportunity for them to see what is happening, how it is happening, expose previous and unknown opportunities as well as challenges, even the pitfalls or things that need to be avoided. Then when in the process in 2020, when COVID struck, it caused relationship. There were a lot of changes within British Council, people working in it, and within some of the institutions. So there were kind of connectivity issue because some might have lost contact, but the evaluation helped to restore the contact, especially from the institutions. Some of them, one of the institutions, the contact person was coming in as a VC, Vice Chancellor for the university. So during interaction with them, with the UK universities, Nigerian universities involved in the project, those who have some slight issues, the evaluation helped to bring back the smooth connection again, which COVID which COVID somewhat affected, and also the project also shone light on some of those issues people are concerned, or potential institutions and partners may be concerned about. The evaluation helped to highlight them, including how to avoid them and address them. Then this is an ongoing project. This is an ongoing project, and it will continue up till the next possibly up next 15 months. It's an EU project which British Council is implementing. It's called Agent for Citizen-Driven Transformation. So this study, this project seeks to build capacity of the CSOs so that they become effective drivers for sustainable changes and development in Nigeria. It began with participatory self-assessment. So like now evaluating the operational capacities and the impact of the organizations at that time before the project, before they were fully integrated. So it was part of the initial assessment. Those who were selected were assessed, not by external persons, rather they were guided to assess themselves. So this assessment and also the subsequent assessment. This subsequent assessments now is one of those doing it across Nigeria where the project is being implemented in 10 states. There's one independent assessor. So I'm visiting some of these organizations now to look at what they are, to assess the impact of the project, the benefit or the usefulness of the project with them, not just assessing them. It is also participatory. So it is helping now to point out existing used and unused capacities, revealing both opportunities and weaknesses. So, while doing this, I observed that the assessment itself, it seems to have exposed a lot. They keep telling, some of the ones I've already visited kept telling me they didn't know this, they didn't know that before the assessment. So it was during the initial participatory assessment which they led, that they discovered a lot of gaps. Some of them didn't even know some of them didn't even know some of the capacities they had and how to use, some of the opportunities they had and how to use it. But the assessment helped them to see all these things and to see how they could go about it, because the person that was guiding them also helped to answer their question. And that is also what happened when I visited them again. So as we interacted, it was revealing where they are currently in relation to where they were. And they kept asking questions. Sometimes they ask questions, what do we do? How do we go about it? That may not be part of the general assessment, but either informal or formal or informal, they learn a lot about where they are supposed to be, and how they are using the capacities, the skills they are gaining from the British Council. Either they are using it well and not, or they're using it, or I don't know. I'm not sure if I can say any was overusing, but it shows them what is possible.
J'ai marché sur la queue, pardon, chouchou.
Pardon?
Sorry, Sophie, could you please mute your microphone, please? Thank you.
Thank you. So then the next project is the one called the project called Jolokoto. This Jolokoto is is a coin Yoruba meaning middle of life. Was a 120 episode entertainment project which was produced by Population Media Center. So it aired between July 2019 up to around August 2020. So what we did was we evaluated the project in 4 phases. Where within the first 2-3 months of the project, we came in to evaluate the project, and in this case, we visited households. So not just visiting, listening to the drama and and telling them what we had. We went, this was also during the COVID, we did the first phase, then COVID came in. We waited a little. When the lockdown was lifted, we continued. So we visited the household and interacted with young people aged between 15 and 25 because the project targeted them. We also tried to include some household head, but attention was largely given to young people during the interaction in the households. So one of the things we observe is that for the population media center that had the project, they receive it as a kind of feedback. I mean, our report came as a feedback to them that helped them to improve on the project or to adjust, or make the project to have wider reach. But for me, thinking back again, I discovered that it's actually the community knowledge that we harvested. We harvested this community knowledge and processed them and fed back to population media center in form of reports. There are also other things, but community knowledge was one of the things. For example, the people had their life, they know how they want to live their lives and things that suit them, which the project designers may not know. So, but through this, by harvesting the community knowledge, we know this is what works for the people, this is how it can be done. And a lot of adjustments and advocacies that needed to be, or community engagement project that needed to be implemented. So this now came as a recommendation. So at the same time, the interaction with the community and within the house, in their household, gave them opportunity to ask questions and make input. There are a lot of questions. Those we can explain, we explain. Those we couldn't explain, we listed them and some of the issues and shared them to the funder, with the funder. So it was opportunity for them to share their thoughts, their feeling. It also created spaces for them to, and for the project to make use of the ideas coming from the community. That is now empowering the people. I had to include this in blue, some of these in blue, because this session is empowering institution. So the organization is supposed to be benefiting from it, but there are also other elements where people felt empowered because they are making input into the project, they are feeding into the project, they are deciding they are influencing the process by making their input. In the end, what the PM Population Media Center received may be a necessary adjustment we suggested, but it was actually a kind of empowerment, an opportunity given to the community that was playing, that was actually playing out. Then the evaluation method itself was also an empowerment, because when you go to somebody's household, you give that person. That person has a better opportunity in a relaxed environment to talk to you the way he or she feels, and not because it is within his or her natural environment. So it was also it also gave an opportunity, for those that listening to the drama to learn. But at the same time, there is important thing that happened. Many people that didn't know about the drama, while we visited them in their household, they began to learn about the drama. They said, "Oh, we have never heard of it before. What is it about? Tell me." Now they began to learn about the drama that could change their lives or improve their life. So, so the method itself within the household made those who were not aware of the drama to be aware of it, and gave them opportunity to ask any question they had. Now let's go back again to empowering people, but this time together with empowerment of communities. Here, there are a lot of things we're going to look at. We see coming now, like local voice, social justice, vetting new ideas, participation spaces being created through the evaluation, refining existing ideas, and community knowledge. Then it also gave opportunity to highlight opportunities, existing opportunities, and provide evidence for further engagement.
Excuse me, Shidi.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just interrupting you to let you know that you should soon end your presentation. So maybe if you could pick one or two examples to share on this part, and then conclude maybe.
Yeah, thank you. So then I'm coming back to the DFID UNICEF FTSS. Now the UNICEF FTSS that's supposed to increase the availability of and the number of female teachers in schools, where there was a corruption in the process. So what we now observe that some of the communities were robbed of the opportunity, but the project now gave them during the evaluation. So the information was there for them to know that actually they are supposed to be their community. And those who supposed to go to their communities and were not posted or were shortchanged got the information. So there is empowerment on the side of the individuals and on the side of the communities. Then, but the important thing here is when these people got the information about this is how it ought to be, and DFID UNICEF got information. This is how it actually is in the communities or in the states. I think you'll be able to have, you can answer, will they keep quiet? You'll be able, will they keep quiet? Will they just do nothing about it? The answer will be no. But how you answer it will help you understand more. Then another project, I'm going to skip this one, but just briefly talk about some of the key issues, but skip the detail. It was another study in the Northeast, the evaluation of radio drama in the Northeast Nigeria. But this one particularly generated new ideas, amplify local voices, and also help to generate, also harvest a local knowledge, local community knowledge again. These are some of the examples of what people say to us. I think when we receive the slide, we can look at it, but I'm going to skip it because of time. These people said this to us. The last one, this arrow is showing the suggestion they were also making. Then another one is this one is a drama, a Shakespeare's drama that was translated into Nigerian Pidgin English called Love at War. So it was showed in 3 states in Nigeria. It was a theater drama played in 3 states. Then we evaluated this study drama to understand if it created a kind of interconnectedness and a kind of enhanced intercultural exchange. In the process, we discovered that it did a lot. One is that the language of the drama revealed a kind of dichotomy in Nigeria in terms of language of education and language of understanding. So somebody said, I prefer to read it in Shakespeare because I will take it. So when I take exam, I will pass it. But I will understand it when it is in my local language. So do you see language of understanding and language of education? This information is enough to empower the Ministry of Education in terms of the policy planning. And this is coming from the people making contribution in terms of how they want it to be. Then it was also an opportunity to recognize or acknowledge what is going on and who is doing those things, just as we have here. Yeah, before I leave this, I want to point out what happened here. Here, I was interviewing a director in the Ministry of Information and Culture who did not know about the drama. And so he didn't know about the drama, but when he learned about it, while interacting with him, he began to highlight the kind of opportunity this drama will create. So you see, the evaluation created the opportunity to interact, and the interaction begin to highlight available opportunities that could come out of this. But without the evaluation, the director might have not known about this and might have not raised some of these issues or the opportunities he is pointing at. So let me begin to summarize as I was asked to. In all this, in my many years of working in research and evaluation, whether in Nigeria or elsewhere, this is not academic textbook observation, this personal observation. I observed 3 streams of evaluation, impact evaluation projects going on in Africa. One is the one that is targeted to donors. People design either it may be a donor project, it may be personal, organizational project, but they evaluate them with a view or with an aim of attracting donors or to expand the existing project. In this case, you see the wording and the presentation of the evaluation will be directed towards pleasing the donor rather than reporting the way things are. Then the second one may be to prove there is actually value for money. So when you see a lot of report people write, those ones that want to prove there is actual value for money may just pick only those things that help to highlight there is value for money, but they may downplay some areas that actually reveal the challenges or the shortcomings. Then another one I called an open market evaluation is a kind of evaluation that mainly seek to market or promote an organization or project. They are just marketing themselves. But I don't know. I don't want to say that it may be true or not true what they report. But if you read it carefully, you will know that they're actually marketing themselves, not seriously reporting the actual situation. Then also some also marketing brand. Then the last one you see in blue is impact-driven evaluation. The evaluation that actually designed to make impact, both either in the project or in people's life. This one, they try to report what they see, report the situation as they are, and they report if actual change occurred or not. They also try to fill a particular evidence gap or prompt some new initiative to come up. So these are the 3 from my observation, looking at what is happening. Some others I've read, some reports I've read, and dissemination events, and also being in the field myself. So these are the things, the 3 streams I saw. But if you want, the one that will actually empower community better is the last one. These other ones, at one point or the other, may be able to contribute to empowering people, institutions, and their communities. But the last one may make more impact because it tends to be more objective and the aim at making impact. Then what's my recommendation? It is just some another way of summarizing what I have been talking about. Evaluation should be deliberate. If we want evaluations to make impact in people's life, in communities, in organizations, we should be deliberate about it. So being deliberate right from the conception, while you're designing your study, you are deliberate that the way you are going to interact with the people, the methodology, will it empower people? The questions you're going to ask, whether it should be participatory approach or not, how you will run implement the whole evaluation project. There ought to be a kind of deliberate attempt to promote social justice and accountability, improve lives, empower communities, promote inclusion and participation, enhance organizational learning, enhance local ownership, projects relevant and effectiveness, and also advance community knowledge by harvesting them, advancing them, and amplifying local voices. I skipped this because one of those I had to rush. Amplify local voices. This is also a very important aspect of evaluation. An important role evaluation could play in the empowerment of communities, people, and institutions. Then my recommendation is also, this one is not just general, this one is this led to scholars and academics. There is need for us to evolve and kind of evaluation impact theory or framework. We need a kind of a framework or theory to evaluate evaluations. not just evaluating. The evaluations are interacting with people, interacting with institutions, interacting with communities. In the process, there is need to evaluate what happened in these processes. After interacting with people, did you weaken them? Did you destroy them? Did you empower them? So there is need. If you check online, there may be a kind of framework for conducting empowerment evaluations. But this one is not about empowerment evaluations, but evaluating evaluations. We need to evaluate them ourselves. Watchers need to be watched. The teachers need to be taught. Evaluators need to be evaluated. Evaluation need to be evaluated to know the impact of evaluation on the people they evaluate or the process itself. So, unless we do that, we may not know or have an understanding of the full impact of evaluations on people, organizations, participants, communities. So this will remain unknown. Hence, I repeat again, we need to begin to evaluate our evaluation activities. And then I'm also calling on capability approach schools and or the broader development scholars to look into this need. I'm also developing interest in this, but I will need also some additional ideas that need to develop a theory of evaluation impacts. Not from the angle we are seeing it in the mainstream literature, but in terms of the impact of evaluations. So yeah, we need a theory and we need a framework. This need to be initiated and advanced. The framework for doing this need to be advanced. I have just some references here for further consultation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chidi, for your presentation, which was very rich. People have started to share their reaction on the conversation, on the discussion section. So just very briefly, I'm not going to repeat the key observations that you shared today, but just a few aspects that I will remind. It is that, so of course, impact evaluation allows community to take part. Well, by taking part in evaluation, people bring their input and also contribute in readjusting the project according to their needs. And also evaluation helps institutions to better know their weaknesses and the opportunities that they might have not identified before the project. And last, it is important to include people in the reflection on. I quite like that that observation. It is important to include people in the reflection on how they want the project to be, which is often a stage that is skipped by project designers. And also you concluded, and you were right, you concluded by pointing out the differences between targeted evaluations, open market evaluations, and impact-driven evaluations, so that we better understand what are the advantages that impact-driven evaluations actually presents. So we have exactly 27 minutes to discuss about the whole topic. Maybe to start, if you have direct reaction about Chidi's examples or Chidi's observations, or his ideas that he shared, maybe you should share it now. I saw some people, yeah, of course, thanking Chidi for this very nice presentation. Feel free to raise your hand. We're going to give you the floor. if you have questions, or if you have other experience or similar experience. Did you know about impact evaluation before joining this session? Did you know all of those issues that that it raised? Actually, you know, in the end, when you concluded, Chidi, I didn't expect actually that recommendation, and it was quite interesting. I don't know if you have ever done it, but evaluating the evaluation, I don't know if you have done it before, but it is anyway a way to say that, how do we say that? It is a whole process, and there is a precise aim in evaluating, apart from showing that we have reached the previously set objective of the project. Anyone wants to?
Can I add something?
Yes.
Thank you, Chidi, for this interesting presentation. And what I want to add is that when I was working at UN, you used to do meta-evaluation. I don't know how you call that in English, but meta-evaluation means to evaluate the evaluation coming from the field. And then we try to make recommendation based on this evaluation coming from the field. And that looked like what you are saying when you said you should evaluate evaluators. And I think your idea is to push this exercise more deeply into research why the project doesn't work in Africa. The project we implement, the organization implements in Africa don't work. And people still poor. That's very interesting to see why they do evaluation and the evaluation doesn't make the good recommendation to correct this project. So this is very good idea to say we need to evaluate evaluators. And then I want to raise another point is I think we can put the capabilities approach in this study you have done by improving people capabilities through communities and institutional capabilities. We can also impact pupils individually.
Thank you, Viviane.
Yeah, I wanted to say, yes, truly, there are some organizations try to evaluate and may want to evaluate evaluation reports.
Yeah, right.
But they don't go back. Do they go back to the people where the evaluation or the community where the evaluation was conducted to interact with the people who participated in the evaluation? Right. So this is a very significant gap, not just reading the document and synthesizing the reports, but also tracing the route back, how and generate evidence from what actually happened in the field. Thank you.
Thank you. So yes, Caroline, give you the floor.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. Chidi, thank you so much for this highly interesting presentation. I have kind of a particular question that I always wonder how best to do. When you have a project, you need to be accountable and you need to have some kind of measurements about your impact and you need to demonstrate that you have made some impact. My question is, what impact means for me is not necessarily what impact means, for example, a smallholder farmer community in Kinangop in Kenya. It has a completely different meaning for them. What does it mean? Either empowerment, either whatever you want to. So my real little conundrum here is you can't develop forms to measure impact if you don't know and you haven't really had a deep conversation, long conversation, even being there and knowing what impact looks like for the community with which you're working. So how do you do the timings here? That's always a question I have. How do you know what I mean? How do you even get the money to write a proposal that honors the people in the community you're working with? Is the timing always that I find so difficult, and the instruments, because you can't put words that maybe don't make any sense for farmers in Chinandega.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, thank you, Carolina. There's something, some of the evaluation project now or method is participatory evaluation. If you are writing a proposal to evaluate a project and you have this in mind, to present a participatory evaluation as your method. That may give you a room to go through, to organize things the way you want. Because because it is participatory, you are going to generate your question, discuss your questions, evaluation approaches with the people. Then you're already interacting. Then they are joining you in the process, in the analysis. That also gives you opportunity to use local knowledge, because they will be also take part in the analysis, so that nothing will be lost in the process. But the challenge is that sometimes we tend to include them. After collecting the data, we try to use our knowledge in Abuja, in New York, in London to analyze the people. And there, at that point, we miss a lot, because we are given a different view. What they say may actually mean different thing to you.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Can I say something? I think the good thing to do in this situation is to collaborate with the government. If there is a real collaboration between government and institution, organization, I think we can know really what people need and what they want for their development. And that
yeah, but I think that not necessarily works always. I am from Venezuela.
That is a problem.
That would never work.
That is a problem.
It is a big problem.
Yeah, I agree with you. That is a problem, because they don't take the opinion of the people. The population opinion doesn't matter. That is a problem.
Exactly.
I have a question then for Chidi. For you who have worked on those impact-driven evaluations, what were your difficulties actually in asking people, in asking communities to take part in the projects and in the evaluations? Could you, for having conducted impact evaluations, could you share with us what are the real difficulties and why would it not work? I mean, why is it not largely adopted?
Thank you, Natalia. I think the problem or the challenges are many, and they are context related. It's not if you go to collect data in Abuja, you may face a different thing, a different scenario, a different situation. Let me give you an example. Between February and June, our leading a study. This is not evaluation, but it's a political economy analysis that collected data from people who are 60 years and above, and those who work in the Ministry of Education before, but they have retired. Many of these have retired, 70 years, 80 years old, have retired to their villages, and the pension they receive is too small. So I remember in the report, including one of the observations of the research assistant that said, when you are coming to interview me, come with anything, even if it is soap. Soap. You can check the cost of soap, and the retiree Is someone who worked and retired, you're coming to interview, requesting even something, even if it's soap, even if it's a top-up card, anything. This is not asking for incentive. This is a sincere and honest explanation of their situation. So when you go to interview such a person and see the situation, you may be emotionally blown away. So at that time, you have a challenge of maintaining your emotion as a researcher and to remain independent, an independent observer. That is one. Number two is the incentive aspect. There are some, when you go to collect data from them, or when you want to include communities to take part in the study, the question is, what will be in this for us? What should be our share of the money you collected? Yes, 2 days ago, I was interacting with someone in a particular about a location where we need to collect data. He said this particular place is very bad. The last time they went there to collect data, the authority said they must give them a share of a certain percentage of the money they collected before they will allow them to collect data. So the participatory approach also has a lot of issues. So another one is the terrain. Some of the locations you may not be able to go there. Either the road to it, or because of the insecurity. In 2016, when I went to support the girls, the team, Guyane team, they were going, they told me, and we would see the place, they want me to look at the places where we're going. You see a lot of destruction, destruction because of conflict. And they said, we need to complete everything we need to do and return back before 4 p.m. It's already, we started this meeting around 4 p.m. But they said we needed to finish whatever we need to do completely there and leave the community before 4 p.m. Now, working with the community members helped me to have this information. Yeah, but another issue is how will you go to such a place to collect data? Whereas farmers may be returning around 4, 5, 6 p.m. So, so if you want to interview farmers in such location and you go there by 8 a.m., they will be leaving for work. Then by the time you are leaving, they may have left. How do you do it? When we're conducting the household survey on Jolokoto, one of the things we discovered that the students come back around 2. So if we want to get the young people, we need to start data collection in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. So the team had to sleep in the field. So it means when you finish, you stay in a nearby hotel within that community. So, and then doing whatever you are doing in the afternoon, again, you move. So sometimes data collection reach around 6 p.m. instead of 5 p.m. because that's when even some people who went to work or elsewhere might have returned for you to collect data. So that is also risky. So there are a lot of challenges depending on the kind of study, depending on the location, depending on the methodology, depending on the nature of the project. A lot of issues will create different kind of problems, different kind of situation scenarios for you. So there is no specific. But when you decide where you want to go, then we discuss the kind of problem you're likely going to face. Thank you.
Thank you, Chidi, for all of those very, how do you say, grounded feedbacks. Does anyone has a question to ask to Chidi or to one of us on impact evaluation, its usefulness? Or the difficulties that you might have? Yes, Caroline?
Yeah, sorry, I have so many questions. No, I was wondering,
Please
for example, here, I was noting down what of the capability approach you can use to order to frame the evaluation, right? And so I was kind of thinking, well, which are the life that these people value to live and what are the choices that they do? So yeah, asking how did you integrate the capability approach in the evaluation is a question, because that should be from the very beginning.
Yeah, that is an interesting question, but a very thorny one. I mean, a very that's a tricky one. It is tricky because some of the project, if the project is funded, as someone, I think I saw someone mentioning that in the comment section, a funded project shape a lot of things, how you go about it. One of the popular capability framework approach is the issue of participation. That is one of the simple one to use, a kind of participatory assessment, where they are given power to say how they want it, where they want it, when they want it, and then participate, make input in the process. But assuming the funder says we don't have money for participatory approach, it's either you do it the way we had it based on the money we have, or you leave it. What do you do? Participatory approach also is time consuming. If it is something I will do alone, I might stay in my workshop or in my room, in my office, and design the whole project how it ought to be, which is a major challenge in a lot of donor-driven projects in Nigeria. They will to be designed maybe in New York or in US to be implemented in Nigeria without understanding or without giving attention to the context. So when they come here, when the study is given to me or given to another person or want to collaborate to work on it, you see, you will be struggling to implement what has been written down. So, so there are two ways. You might decide to say, I'm not going to do it. Go with your project. For independent evaluators like us, then you sacrifice that one. Or you say, I'm going to do it and lobby for adjustments, so that you will be able to do it. So what I'm trying to say is the capability approach may not work very well in the funded evaluations, because he who pays the piper dictates the tune.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chidi. We have a written reaction here. I'm going to read to you. It's from Chigbo. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce it correctly. So he says, or she, I'm coming from the energy sector. I think project sponsors and implementers should be very open during the midterm review to harness critical feedback from the stakeholders in order to successfully deliver on project objectives, which is totally right. In fact, as far as I know, when you adopt an impact management, or when you handle an impact-driven evaluation, you have to be quite flexible at all levels, at all stages of your evaluation. As soon as you are working with local communities and you want to integrate them, to include them in the process, it requires at some extent some flexibility that not all institutions have. I don't know if Chidi has been confronted to such an experience.
I think that is also what I was trying to say. The issue of the need to adjust, but the adjustment depends on the funder. There are funders that may not want to adjust, and also you will have to decide whether it is something you can adjust or not adjust to. So the adjustment is supposed to be on both sides, but the issue of openness and the sincerity is another issue. There are some I visited an organization where I needed to evaluate, and no senior person came to see me. They knew I was there. Now, so I went to a community to evaluate, and they went their way. Nobody gave you attention, and maybe only young people and people who may not know you might meet there. So what do? You might find yourself adjusting, but at the same time, you will know that some of the honest information you might need from key stakeholders, you might need them. It's a very tricky situation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Does anyone else want to ask a question or share their reflection?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm Murugan from India. Must that all impact evaluations should lead to a capability sort of analysis? Generally, I would say it may not be possible in all cases to be participatory, one thing. Second thing is that impact evaluation follows different methodologies. So when all methodologies are followed, will it be possible for us to arrive at a set of capabilities? If so, unless, the design of an impact is something slightly different from that of the measurement of capabilities. So in that case, unless we specifically intend to do the capabilities measurement, how will it be possible for us to connect impact with capabilities? That is my doubt. Thank you.
Yeah, that is interesting one. But I also began the capability approach also recognizes that there could be that the list of capability is not exhaustive, and if it is not, if you cannot cover all of them, then also some of them also might differ in different situations. I mean, the interpretation and definition in different contexts. So having a set of capabilities which we will use may not be a kind of one size fits all. We may run into a problem when we use the same set of capabilities to go into different communities because there may be defined differences.
I also might, at least would like to explain, to react to that question. In the impact, in the methodology of impact evaluation, you start with the just like any other project, but with a different kind of what is it? Logic framework. And in that logic framework, the first question, as I said when introducing the session, the first question that you ask is, what is the social need? And I think from that beginning, when asking what the social need is, that's where you start also with the capability approach.
No, that's what I was trying to say. That is, it is not a prerequisite that in all impact evaluations, you can measure social needs.
Yes.
All need not end up with a social needs, which means in all cases, we may not be able to measure the capabilities also.
Yeah.
It is possible in certain cases, particularly where there are social involvement, or particularly where you can have some benefits to the common man, which is immediately measurable or visible or things like that. Whereas in other cases, it will be difficult for you. For example, you are building a submarine. What sort of capabilities you will be? It's also a project and it has got some impact. The impact is the safety of the nation. But it may not lead to an individual capability. So there, one can say that communal capability or things like that is there, your safety is protected, this thing, that thing, and all that. But for which our existing methodologies of impact evaluation may not be useful or rather pertinent to measure the capabilities in full. Partly it is possible to measure. That's what I would say.
Yes. Yeah, I get you. Totally agree with you. It is not always possible, and it requires a very precise, very clear methodology to work. We have 2 minutes left. I don't know if anyone has a short reaction, still have a short reaction. If not, maybe we should conclude so that we can end the session on time. Viviane, yeah?
Yes, I want to say maybe one of the solution is maybe to evaluate policies. You know, if you want to reach people, maybe policies makers should be evaluated, so we can maybe find a solution for people, for populations.
Yeah, you are right, but you are talking on a macro scale. But capability measurement on a macro scale means you require micro measurement and then aggregate. Is it not? If you strictly follow SEN,
yeah,
it is individual or household specific.
But maybe you should move on institutional and politics.
Yeah, institutions are part of the endowments that is available to the individual. Institutions are rather endowments, although they are creations of a group. But institutions are what? Institutions are the existing rules and regulations. They are the creation for the benefit of the individual. I agree, and that is an endowment which the individual should transform to his entitlements and then transformation process and all that, so on and so forth, ultimately leading to the set and from which he has to choose.
Yeah.
So in that case, what I'm trying to say is that many macro issues, when we are trying to measure from the same, capability framework, we'll be finding difficulties in measurement. That is what, unless it is, even the human development report is an aggregation, is it not? Aggregation, say, within of each state, but from different sources. So, a sort of aggregation is required, but before the aggregation, there is a measurement, and that measurement is more or less individual specific. That's how it is designed. Unless you are following psychometric methods. If you are following psychometric methods also, but fine, you can have some collectivity and all that, but the collectivity may not be that large. So there are positive things which are favorable for measurement of capabilities in the project impact evaluation, and there are also negatives. But the thing is that if one can find methodologies for converting those negatives to positive side, then that would be a better area of research. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Viviane, I think we should now end the session. Thank you all so much for your participation. Thank you, Viviane and Chidi.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you to the HDCA team.
Thank you, Caroline, and thank you, Chidi, for this presentation.
Thank you, everyone, for being here.
For the slides and the reference, we are going to share it to our technical support, and he will post it on Wova. Normally, you have downloaded.
Can you just Chidi, can you just plus on your email ID or things like that, if you don't mind?
Yeah, I was wondering the same. Is there any way to have emails? I was wondering exactly the same.
Yeah, see, in that case, the advantage is that we will be able to know what is happening, or suppose we have got a doubt. So those things would be more helpful. You can pass it on, that would be great.
Okay, could you confirm? Maybe I did not, not sure I understand it. Okay,
so now we can put it later.
Thank you.
That doesn't matter.
We notice your email. We will share it. We will send it also to all the mailing list of the African regional group, and we will also post it on Wova.
Superb. Thank you. That will be great.
Okay, I am copy pasting your emails to make sure that you get it.
Yeah.
Feel free to send your email right now.
Probably you can collect and send it to all. That would be at least in the group.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
It's
Thanks.
such a good presentation, really. Such a
It was
good
really
point. Very good point, really, really, really. And
yeah,
you know, the thing is,
several,
it's not very much talked about. This is nothing,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that you can, I don't know, you can have access to that knowledge. It's just so difficult.
Yeah.
Chidi was actually right when illustrating how it really works in the local places and what are the difficulties, the practical difficulties in the, because it's I am doing impact evaluation in France, and it's completely different. It's just here's the framework and you just follow, and most of the time we don't have such difficulties, but here we are in such a context that it is just it becomes so difficult for people to
Absolutely
do it.
So it was really great. Thank you so much. It was amazing.
Thank you all. Thank you for your feedback also.
Thank you everyone.
And we wish to see you someday.
Thank you and see you.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
See you next year.
Okay, yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.